Alright everyone, and thank you so much for all the support of all my car history videos. I'm really glad the people are enjoying me banging on about my old cars and the mistakes that I've made, the money that I've lost, and everywhere where I've gone wrong. This time of my life, I went through so many cars in such a short time. The next car that I bought after the Ute, which is unlike any of the other ones, is this. This is a Ford Meteor. Now you might be asking, Deacon, why did you buy this car? You might be thinking, this does not look like the rest of these, but actually this kind of car is absolutely right up my alley. If you guys know me at all, you know that I love old cars, original, old people. This one was a deceased estate. It was like brand new. I'm not exaggerating. Like, the interior was mint. There's a little teacup in the center console. There was tea bags in it. This car was original as it got. As I have always done in the past, I overextended myself. Now, I just had so much on the go. I was working 2 jobs and I had 7 cars at this point. This is my number 7. And trying to keep on top of all of the maintenance and repairs, and it did run really well, and it actually had twin carbies. It was the gear model, so it was top of the line, but it had not been on the road in more than 20 years. So because of this, it needed everything. And after I took it to the mechanic for them to look over it, the quote was like more than $4,000, I think. And while that isn't unfair really, because of how much needed to be done, I couldn't really justify it, and I actually ended up selling the car for half a slab of Canadian clubs. It was really, really cool, and I loved how the bonnet flipped up the other way. And now we're going to fast forward to the beginning of COVID, and if you guys remember, before COVID really started going, the value of cars plummeted for only a couple of months before they exploded. And I had just got off my P's, so I thought, as most P-platers do, that I was the best driver on the face of the earth. So I'd sold my VS Ute. I wanted a new daily driver. I saw a VU SS50 for sale, a cammed manual, 303 kilowatts at the wheels. On a dyno, had everything, drove out there, got it. I could not believe my luck. As with any crisis, there is opportunity. I went on Gumtree before this car was listed and set alerts because I wanted an SS Ute. Now this Ute was fantastic. It was such a quick car. It was easily, without a shadow of a doubt, the fastest car that I'd ever driven. And it was my daily for about 18 months. Like, it was so good. I mean, it was terrible on fuel, but it had 3.7s, manual. It was just a monster. And I thought I was such a good driver, and I ended up going too hard one time and I crashed it. Of course, it's embarrassing to tell the internet about my single car crash, but it is out there. Everybody knows it. I don't hide it, but it was embarrassing. You can imagine what a young P-plater bloke was doing in his new V8 manual Ute, and that's what happened to it. Nobody was hurt. All that happened was the car was ruined. So now, because the motor and box was still fantastic, I sold the wreck for $5,000, and I was really, really happy with that. Then the value of these exploded. Yes, it is a shame. Yes, I was stupid. Yes, it is embarrassing to admit that I killed a really, actually quite rare car, one of 500 made, just for no reason, just because I was silly. But that's what you do when you're young. And I'm just very, very, very lucky that I wasn't hurt. I didn't hurt anybody else, and everything like that. In the shed, I've got this hanging up on the wall. This is actually the tailgate from the Ute, the engine cover, which is actually different. It's got yellow writing, and the leather headrests, which are also a little bit rare. But that car being ruined was 100% my fault. There is no question about it. But that began a streak of bad luck with cars. One of my best mates, he's not a car bloke at all, but he actually had a red VU Ute. And this thing was a farm Ute. It was faded, but it was reliable as anything. And he offered it to me. He just happened to be selling it at the same time that all this was happening for $500. It had a few months rego on it. Ripper. I bought it the day after I crashed the SS. Polished it, pulled all the suspension out of the SS, put it in the new Ute. It was slammed. It looked fantastic. I was actually really, really happy with it. And it was a good car. It turned first crank. All right, one of the windows didn't wind down and the radio kind of was a bit crap. But again, it was $500. I really, really liked this Ute. It was good. So my mate had sold that red Ute to me to buy another car. It was a Subaru. And he parked that car out the front of my house. He was real happy with it. And I reversed out of my driveway and hit it. And I was absolutely beside myself. Now, luckily, of course, as always, I'm insured. Everything got fixed properly. You know, he's a good friend. Of course, I fixed everything. I don't know if I've actually got any photos, but what I've done is just swiped the driver's side of my rear quarter. While his car wasn't too bad at all, obviously it needs to be fixed because I damaged it, but the Ute took the brunt of the hit. And I was certain that they were going to write that off, and they didn't. I could not believe that they decided to fix that car. It would have cost an absolute fortune, and because it was red, when they cut and polished it, they had to give the whole car a cut and polish. And when I got it back, it was unbelievable. It was like a brand new car, and yeah, it was a good Ute, and I sold it to somebody, and then the next day they stacked it. So, however, the bad luck streak continues. Now, not only did I crash my SS, now my car was at the insurance place, and I still didn't have a daily driver. I was driving my VN to and from work, and I didn't want to keep doing that. So I went on Gumtree again, just looking for a cheap VT, VX, VY, something with rego to get me to and from. And I saw a red VT on Gumtree pop up for I think $1,200 from memory, but it had 8 months rego, and I thought it was the second owner selling it, the original owner being the Australian government, and it was a stock height, dead honest car. I thought this is going to be perfect. So as soon as I saw that ad, went over, bought it, didn't negotiate, didn't need it. I got a windscreen put in it, and just a few light roady items. I think it needed link pins and bonnet struts. Then I put all the suspension out of the VU, put it in the VT, put it on swirlies, and that was my daily driver for about 2 days. After I lowered it, I was just driving on the highway at 100 k's an hour, had it on cruise control, driving perfect, and I pull into the driveway in my mate's home, and he goes, "Hey, what is that noise?" And I'm thinking he's winding me up. And anyway, I get out of the car, and it's rod knocked, and I could not believe that I'd rod knocked this car. I swear on my life that I was really easy on this car. After I just crashed the SS, I'd learned a big lesson, and I really wanted to just cruise along. I had a stock exhaust. It was nice and quiet. It was a comfy car. I just wanted to drive it, and the only motor I've ever had that I've ruined, and all I was doing was sitting on the highway. Not the original owner's fault at all. He was an old boy. When I bought it, it worked fine. It had service history. That is just bad luck. Now I was in between cars, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And at the time I was working at Autobahn, and there was another staff member working there, and it was well known sort of in the Autobahn thing that I loved Commodores. I always have. And one day I just happened to be working with him. He just says to me, "Hey mate, my mum's selling our childhood Commodore if you'd be interested." Now this bloke that was talking to me was already middle-aged, so his mum would have been in her early 80s, I think. I was so excited already because it is really, really rare to buy a one-owner car. I asked him a bit more about it, and it's a Series 2 VX Bellina, a white one. His mum had bought it brand new 20 years ago, and back in the day. And after I saw some pictures of it, I drove about 3 hours to see this car, and as I pulled up to the house, it was the most honest VX you've ever seen. Yes, it has 200,000 Ks on it. I'm not kidding. The inside was like brand new. And this car, I still have. I still have it, and it's sitting in the shed there. And it is one of my favourite cars that I own. I don't think I've even ever made a video on it. And it's just sitting unregistered at the moment. I will show you it at the end of this video. But I'm just waiting a bit on it. It's just such a great car. And it was actually my daily driver. I put about 70,000 Ks on this car, and it did not step a foot wrong the entire time. It was the most reliable car. It was comfy. Everything worked. Stock head unit, comfy seats, clean. It had never been abused. And I never, ever, ever abused this car. I always looked after it. If anything went wrong, I fixed it. It was religiously serviced. I could talk about this all day. I remember pulling up seeing that VX there, turned the key to start it, and I said to the nice lady, "Yep, I'll take it. How much did you want?" Gave her the money, didn't negotiate. I was so in love with that thing. I'm not going to negotiate an 80-year-old lady over a few $100s. Like, that's silly. It was already cheap enough, and I was so excited. And it was just such a fantastic car, and I can't wait for things to start happening to it again. It really, really deserves a lot of love, that car, and I'm just looking at it now. It's such a good car. But I'll show you it. Just a warning, it actually hurts me to reveal this to you. It's not been washed in probably a year. It's on some mismatched wheels. But it will be loved once again, I promise. I promise. But let's have a look. I'm not sure if it can be captured on video well, but it is in fantastic condition. It does need a bit of a vac up here, but it does have the original sheepskins that the lady put on it 20 odd years ago. Again, this car has not been washed in actually probably more than a year. You can see it's a little bit dirty up there. And look, it is just an Ecotec, but it has had every issue ever fixed properly. It's just such an honest car. I'm not even kidding, I could talk about this thing until I'm blue in the face. Like, it is such a good car. Again, it was my daily driver. Not too sure what I want to do with this thing, but it deserves love, it deserves money spent on it, and I have a lot of sympathy and a lot of good feelings towards this car. I would get in it tomorrow and drive around Australia. Like, it is that good. It is probably due for a cut and polish and a bit of a tidy up. I will actually be doing that in an upcoming video. I haven't documented this car at all, and I will definitely be doing that. But because the sheepskins have always been on there, the seats are fantastic underneath. Level 3 cluster, standard head unit, everything. Sheepskins. The lady that owned this actually had a cover on the steering wheel the whole time she had it. There is no twist, no play in the steering wheel. It is like new. I've had lots of Commodores. This is by far and away the best wheel that I've ever had on any car. I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't actually plan to look in the VX, but I got so excited that I couldn't help myself. But I will be making a full in-depth video of this car. I just want to bring it out and give it a wash and just make it perfect. If these kind of videos are your thing, then please feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I can find more cars like this. I know that they're out there, but they are hard to find. I don't care about the price. What I care about is finding original, honest cars and then putting my little 10% on them.